So it really, the Indian that we've been working on at the tzitzis, the two different types of tzitzits, Lovin and Techelis, which I'm boiling down and I'm submitting to you is for your opinion on this, is really turning to two different periods, or either that or two different inyanim. Because I think that sometimes the words he uses, like for example, the bisman is a base of migdash. So over that is a certain time where you actually have the chiluf takes place. This is the way I understand it. And as a result of that, you need this blue string. The blue string, which he says refers to Malchus, to the Hashlima, to 32. Which begs the question is, why do you need 30? What's the big deal about 32? Well, so that 32 is actually translates into tzitzis because there are 32 strings. So this all is a little bit airy for me. And that's what he says, though. That's what he says is going on. Now, let's look at the next part. So he's now going to start, I guess, reviewing some of his ideas. Let me see. We're doing this okay. So Atam shebizman hazeh she'ein lanu techelis. So now we don't have the base of mikdash. That condition is not present. Ain't a ma'akev as halava. So this presupposes that if you have only 31 strings, then is a possibility that the lovin won't work either. In other words, no shafa that's coming from or is an or makif, which is coming from the strings, is going to be able to work because you don't have the complete sets. That's my understanding, the best I can understand this. So let's read the words of the Rav himself. So he said, if it's that topic, now you're going to understand how is it that also at this time, that we don't have those conditions where we have this chiluf that we're talking about. So he said, but the techelis, if you don't have the techelis, it doesn't hold back the action or the benefit that you get from the white string. V'halavin levado who mitzvah gemura min Torah. So the lovin by itself is really the mitzvah in the Torah. I'm not sure how I understand that. So he said that in other words, I think he means it fulfills the mitzvah in the Torah. And it is because these are really two completely different types of tzitzios. One comes the chochma of ima, which I'm translating to mean that is after the chiluf, which used to be the bina of Abba, is now the chochma of ima. And one just comes straight from the bina of ima without a chiluf. And this is the reason why we say that the blue doesn't hold back the white. And also they have the opposite. So if you wanted to have the strings all that were purple, I can want to say purple, or blue, but he says so that because since they're different entities, which trying to understand the meaning of the entities, which means that one is a condition, that's my best understanding. One is a condition in which the base of mikdash is around. And as a result of that, you have this chiluf of mochim, which seems to be very important. The other one is a different condition where you don't have that. So he says, so if there were only one Indian by themselves, and there weren't these two different situations, then one would hold back the other one, which is the way it seemed, incidentally, because when you had the time of the base of Mikdash, you only had 31, and you did 32, so you added something onto it. Techelis as 11, so the 11 doesn't hold back the Techelis, and the Techelis doesn't hold back the 11. So once again, I'm still trying to understand the bigger picture, and it seems to me it's abstract. So let's look at it in the tip. So tip starts at number Resh. So the tip says, Shuhu Zaman Churban, he says, Tavin, Gam Bizman Shuhu Min Zaman HaChurban. So now we're here at the time where you don't have this chillah. So Asha'af al Pisha Ein Lona Techelis, so even though we don't have Techelis, As Ein Techelis Bizman because, we have no Techelis now. This is what the Rav is saying. Ma'akev is a lovin, so the kelis won't hold back the lovin. I'm sorry, I read it slightly wrong. Be'efshel the kaim es mitzvah tzitzis b'chute lovin levad, so you can fulfill the mitzvah just with the kelis. Excuse me, just with white, without the chelis. Hagam she'ein chutim chelis, even though you don't have the chutim chelis. Now, the chutim alav and levado, lav levadam, to just using white, l'kayim mitzvah gemara minotaur. That's been said. The Rav said that, and he's saying it again. But what you need to see is what's what's playing here. V'atam bezev ku kaven shem shnei minitzitzias, because you have two different types of tzitzis. A Ramaz and the Shnei mini mochim, which really refer to two different types of mochim. What does that mean? The hatzitzis shall chuter halovim into the chelis. Let's take that. At the time of the base of Mikdash, Ramaz and the arba mochim sheyesh b'moach hachochma de b'tzad ima. They refer to the four mochim that you find from our drawing, which would wind up after the chiluf on the right side of in the chochma of ima. That is once again the the bina of Abba becomes the chokhmah of Ima. So he says in that situation, so that's that situation. Now here's another situation. They only refer to the regular Imas Deka Bina, that Bina which is found at the far left, that is the left side of Ima. So because first is dealing with the switch, which puts Abba on the right side of Ima. The second is dealing without a switch, whereas Bina is still in its regular place where it always was that is the Bina of Ima. So therefore it's possible to fulfill the mitzvah with just the chut and the Lolo techelas tefisha shechaloven ramez al mochen debida debitzad ima, because it represents that. Now, in this case, you don't need techelas because the mochen of ima come out to be 32. So therefore, if you're just dealing with the mochen of ima, that is the bina of ima, then you're still dealing with a complete set of 32 strings. That seems to be why the direction he's going. So then he says like this, well, let's say that you don't have any white strings. Now this is a little harder for me to hear. You could do the mitzvah with just the chelis. I understand what he's saying, that's also could be a mitzvah. Why? Because it's always representing, I guess, it's always representing the switch that's taking place, the chiluf that took place, which is the chiluf that adds the chelis into it. So since he said that, since you had the original situation was, if you make the switch and you're dealing with the Yaakos over there, have only 31 letters, then you're dealing with a one set of 8 strings that needs the chelis in order to make it an 8. So then the question is, well, why do you put it? He had that question. Why do you put it on the other 4, the other 3? So why does all of them have chud techelis? And he says he had said over there, it's a remez. So perhaps he's saying the same thing here. He says that if you have everything purple, that's the wrong word. If you have everything blue, then that will be a constant reminder of the fact that you're in a situation where you have the chiluf. But if they were both just one more, so then if you don't have one, you don't have the other. That would hold itself back. Because if you put them together, what do you get? Just one moach. Now we have like 3 minutes, so we can at least read Reish Yud Gimel. So now that we dealt with that, and we understand that there are 2 different conditions, that's the word bechina, so it makes sense there. The bechina of the base of Mikdash, and the bechina without the base of Mikdash, the bechina of the chiluf, the bechina without the chiluf, you're going to have 2 different situations, and they're not ma'akdim one versus the other. and I'm assuming that where everything is blue, that refers to the time of the base of Mikdash. He says, "Atam lama bizman azet sarach gam kem shatzitzos atzitzis yiyu kafulim b'shazurim." Why do you have to twine them all together, even in the time when you're not previously have mentioned that you're wrapping the shazurim idea is the wrapping the chasana b'das, which are subservient tafel. I think that's the basic idea that we're saying to the chokhmah. So you kind of wrap it in together because they both fly together. What about now? Why do you need that now? We're not dealing with that time where you're pulling those two together. Od yesh chiluk acher. So there's another difference. He says, ki betala shel dechelas. We're dealing with the one that has the blue. Hayachachutim hashizurim v'hakafulim mibechid chasadim deima hanechfalos b'nichklalos im chute hachachma demin. So that's a situation where you have the chasadim of ima are, he said, doubled over and intertwined with the chutim of the chachma the ima hankenizker la'el, so that you're bringing you're showing the dependency of the chasadim of zila of the dependency of the lower moach, which is the chasadim b'das, to the higher movement, which is chachma. But now that's fine when you have when you have the switch. Ava betalis alavin shalana, but in our white talis, which is only achutim, ashuzurim, v'akafulim, over there you have the mochin, which are intertwined and doubled over. That refers to the gluras that is really a part of the chutim abina of the, because in the second case, in the 11 different case, you're dealing with ima, just the bina of ima. And so, therefore, you have a different situation than if you're dealing with the switch and where you're dealing with the chokhmah bima. Al derek hanizker the el mamish. So it's like we said up above, and maybe we could read this. You give me a break here. We're going to read this. The Ratio Gimel. Ratio Gimel will go for as long as I can. B'yesh chilif noisid bein shnei mini hatzitzir sheim lovin v'techelus. He's a keep the talent. Okay. All right. That's it. Time.